And I knowing what the kind of work that you do, and also having met you virtually, I understand that a process is
You're one of the
important
people,
to you.
you are one of the people that I have never met,
Mm-hmm.
but I look forward to see. You know? So you see what social media is doing. And I'm like, no, Zaza, soon will be my person. I'm telling you.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. The pandemic also brought us even closer, so
That's
yeah, so it's amazing. So I was saying, I know that process is important to you. Why is process important to you as a creative?
um, I think process allows me to fail and allows me to take a step back and look at what I did and learn how to make it better. Without process, I will not become better in anything I do. Process allows me to accept that I'm not perfect and allows me also to learn how to be more than even perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I love process because it makes me grow as well as a creator.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing, let me just talk about writing. There's nothing amazing than starting from not knowing what the idea is
Mm-hmm.
and then seeing it slowly, growing and blossoming through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a magical thing when you look. I look at my work that when I feel it is done and there's nothing else I can do, and I think it can move to another stage. But to look at it where it started and to look at how my mental space responded to not knowing the concept,
Mm-hmm.
and you take a step back and look at that process you went through.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. It makes me just feel like maybe Tara Banks a bit. I'm like, mm,
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful thing to realize growth because the
Mm-hmm.
process allows you to do that. A
Yeah.
process is like it pushes you to a destination.
Mm-hmm.
If you allow process to take place,
Mm-hmm.
it pushes you to where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you reach, and then with process, definitely it's guaranteed you're gonna reach that space
Mm-hmm.
wherever whatever creating allows you to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when you reach that space, you look back, and
Mm-hmm.
it's such a joy to see growth. You know what I mean? Because process, it's just taking pieces, making things better, tracking things out, trying things out, failing, constantly failing, but also coming back
Mm-hmm.
and reworking whatever it is that one does.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're done, you look at it. It's like, I want some. It
Sometimes you
feels
don't
good.
even know
It
how
feels
did you, like, you're looking at it and like, how did I write this play? Because some of the things like the birthing process of
yeah,
it was tough, but
yeah.
I stayed through it.
Mm, oh, oh, oh. Oh, it's when they say magic,
Yeah.
when you talk about magic,
Mhm,
it's that moment you
mhm,
look at the process. When you look
mhm,
at what did I go through.
mhm,
I did my master's thingy, and it in the beginning when I literally from the moment I applied, I didn't know where I was putting myself into.
mhm,
Through in during that process or during that program, I
mhm,
had no idea what was going on. But now that I'm done and
mhm,
I look at it and I'm thinking everything that I've learned,
mhm.
it's mm, only because of the process.
Yeah.
You have to allow process to take place.
Mhm,
Even in theater making, you
mhm,
know, if you are an actor and you do not allow a process of discovering what does the character want? The overall objective of that story.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't allow the brain to do that, nothing's going to happen with that show. I mean, with that character, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what are your thoughts in terms of process, in terms of whether process is about duration, or it's about um, the amount of time that you put into that process, or into the process, into the journey of discovery, into the journey of figuring out the what.
I think the journey of figuring out, because figuring out will never happen instantly.
Mm-hmm.
It needs that time to breathe. It needs a moment where you don't know anything,
Mm-hmm.
when you are blank, a moment of saying, flip, I'm chucking this thing out, I'm throwing it away. um, I think it's not the amount, it's the duration. I think it's because you can create something now,
Mm-hmm.
and tomorrow there's a lot of artists who work like that, which is okay, I guess, who create something now and tomorrow they're viewing it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I wouldn't work. I wouldn't work like that. I like taking time. I like taking time with letting things breathe. Because sometimes when you are in a creative space, you not only what you're working with. Um, Sometimes trying to get a lot of information, a lot of inspiration, it blocks you.
Mm-hmm.
It blocks you from taking a distance because you are really too much close to the process, right? You're too much close to whatever you're creating.
Mm-hmm.
But if you allow that to rest and just forget about it, it's
Mm-hmm.
not amount of work you put in, it's just the time. So
Mm-hmm.
that you say just a week, it's in your hand and go just for a week and just go take my husband and go to Potchefstroom and forget about this piece I'm writing. But there in Potchefstroom, I'm telling you, something is gonna happen that when you come back,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's abantu bajahe kakhulu. I don't know. People are in a hurry to bring out work without allowing it to grow on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we are creators, we creators all, I think creators are filled with trying to control how to get the final product. But that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually also letting the product to grow on its own, and letting it sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard when you're in the process of creating, because you're like, oh, I need to get this thing done, I need to work, oh, I need this and this, so that and sometimes it's fine, do that, do that, but allow also to let it forget about it. And I say that because I like doing that. Some of my works I started writing a play. Gosh, that play, I started it I think April. And I wrote only one scene. And
Mm-hmm.
every day I'm finding things, what's happening in my surroundings, in my reality, in how I'm breathing in my own spaces. Everything, it brings me back to that play. Not writing it, but feeling myself, with ideas and feelings and pictures and movements, whatever it is. And I'm like, I'm not writing the play yet now, like physically, but something is happening. I'm getting more clearer and clearer. By the time I will go back to that play, wow, I can't wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, but I do think also that process is it's different with the every writer. Not every writer, but every creator. I think they see process in a different way. Some people would definitely want to get an idea now, finish it now, and move on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it who work like that. Me, I like to take time. I like things to sleep because sleeping is good.
Yeah. And even in sleep,
Yeah.
you also have dreams, and those dreams can also feed into what you're writing. I used to bother my sister with my dreams, like from when I was young up to even my early 20s. Every time I'd wake up, like, do you want to know what I dreamt? I had this weird dream, and then I'd go and describe it in detail. She's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
done. I can't listen to your weird dreams now because my dreams are always fantastical. But I'll be wondering who was writing this dreamscape that I went through. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. No. But that's part of the process, I guess.
mhm,
That's part of the process. That's part of it. It's all because when you don't realize that when you go to bed, that something inside of you is still working. It's still feeding that concept. You
mhm,
know, I know that every time if I'm writing a short story,
mhm,
I will wake up every time. It's always out at 3 o'clock. And
mhm,
I wake up my person like, hey, what's wrong? Wake up and hear this. I do the same as well. Like, I'm in another space,
mhm,
and thank goodness for phones because you can record that moment
mhm, mhm,
of being told how the concept should grow or think.
mhm.
I totally agree with you. It just you just need it to take place like that, especially with process. Don't rush things.
Mhm. Absolutely. So you've recently been working with the African Women Playwrights Network. How has it
Yes,
been for you creating community for African women playwrights?
less lonely, less lonely
Mhm,
is nothing fulfilling than knowing that there is someone who is going through exactly what you're going through.
mhm,
Knowing exactly that the struggles you are going through, someone has gone through those things.
mhm,
There's nothing so pleasing than to have someone who looks this one who looks like you
mhm,
and who is a woman who is also better than you and help you sisterhood. And believe that I'm a writer. And there's nothing shameful about that. I am a playwright. And if you ask me, I would not have said that you know, in, around the diaspora, you know, meeting you, Zaza, meeting Tandiwe, meeting all these amazing Black women, African writers,
mhm,
and hearing how they tackle their processes and their plays,
mhm,
and you can read those works.
mhm,
AWPN has made I can have a career,
mhm, mhm,
but also know that I'm not alone.
mhm,
That's me. Remember in 2016 when I discovered, well, I think in 2014 when I adapted that's when I started writing plays,
mhm,
and then I started changing my social media as well,
mhm,
um, to become a playwright, a writer,
mhm,
and then I playwright in South Africa. Even if I do know and through AWPN, it has made I'm friends with Sister Napo Mashiane. She's a South African playwright, poet,
mhm,
incredible human being who's willing and to open her space, her expertise to
mhm,
making sure with another young girl,
mhm,
another woman writer, another woman creator, whether
mhm,
it's a playwright or whether it's a director, whether it's an actor, they have a safe space
mhm,
to first to be vulnerable and
mhm,
have a safe space to grow. you know, to have a person who's going to hurt you. And AWPN is able to do that, making sure that there are safer spaces for women to create, you know. So it has been a wonderful experience being part of AWPN. It has also challenged me as a writer as well, because I read a lot of plays and I have access now to a lot of plays, and I read it. I mean, with Almasi, oh my gosh, with Almasi, I read so many plays. I'm like, yo, I feel so good right now. What am I doing? I'm a writer. Yeah, you know, and 2014, I would not have had that access. So it has been incredible platform. I'm AWPN. I need tattoos that say AWPN.
No, I truly appreciate AWPN because it has made me meet so many playwrights from different African countries that are women. Because even sometimes when you would Google and you just say, I'm looking for an African female playwright, just seeing how that information wasn't there. And now that we have this network where women can also meet each other and creatives from the African continent can connect with each other. I think that is incredible. That is deeply meaningful and needed work. Yeah, so I truly, truly appreciate you guys. Please don't stop. Please continue.
No, truly, we need to do more. There's more. And the only difficulty now is that now we know, Guti, we exist. Now we know there are playwrights, there are women who are incredible in their crafts, but also there are younger ones. You know, my love or my wish for AWPN is that actually what AWPN wishes is that every country in Africa, you know, connects, especially connects with the young upcoming ones. Because if you think about it, you know more centers that accommodate young writers in Zimbabwe. And I know centers in South Africa that accommodate young female writers, young voices, but also Tosin in Nigeria, also Sarah in Egypt. You know what I mean? So imagine if there's more of us in Angola, in Sudan, more of us meeting, you know, meeting these young voices. And it's just thinking about it, the possibility of it all, that it makes me excited for the future and what AWPN aims to do as well, that we need to recognize the younger ones. We need to connect the younger ones. You know, we need to the established one and the young writer to meet. We need mentorship, safer mentorships, you know, and also we need openness as well. We still are afraid to open up our countries. We are still afraid to open up our countries. I remember when I found out about Almasi, young, I was crazy. I need water for this moment. Almasi. I was bored watching YouTube. I'm like, I'm inspired. And then boom, there was I think a play being read, Ruined, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, oh, what is this? And everything was so proper. I'm like, this is from Zimbabwe, my home, where my grandfather was born, and everything is proper. The actors are proper. The respect they had for the text. There was direction. I'm like, what is this? And I stalked for months. I stalked Almasi. I'm like, and then I got introduced to, I became a steering member of AWPN with 3 other writers, playwrights, and then I started saying, Yazin, there's something called Almasi. Because also my mental thingy blocked me, you know. I'm feeling like, what if now I'm not enough and I can't just appear alone. I need, you know, I need AWPN. And then they did. And I felt held when we connected with Almasi and what it does. And I'm thinking, wow, you guys are doing an incredible job. And I know you focus not only in female writers, but also on in I think male writers. I don't know if non-binary as well. But whatever you guys are doing, you are doing it right, and it's incredible. Encouraging young voices and to read, and making actors to read plays. It's another skill. Actors just want to perform, but they don't realize that actually reading plays is another skill.
Yes, exactly.
So it's I'm excited. I'm excited for what's happening with the visibility of playwrights in South Africa. No, not in South Africa, in Africa. Yeah, I'm used to say South Africa, but in our continent. The fact that we are here and we are in charge of our narratives. And we know how to tell them in different languages, in different styles. We know. And we can create our own spaces as a continent. Like Paris, you come to us. And like London.
We have the audience, by the way.
Yeah. We are here. And it takes a community to get to that level where people start saying, oh my God, there's Almasi. Oh my God, there's AWPN. Oh, and the one thing I don't like with how the society tends to separate things, and I'm like, we should not dim each other's lights. Almasi is doing incredible things. AWPN is doing incredible things. There's other festivals as well. And we need those. We need to know those. Yeah.
And I, like you're saying, this whole idea of trying to dim other entities or each other, it's almost as if people think that one person is the solution to the problems that we face and is the one who's going to bring about the things that we need in our spaces, but that's not true. So the work that AWPN is doing and the work that Almasi is doing can still exist in the same space and actually complement each other and make and strengthen, the impact of both spaces. So
amazing, and already it's doing that. We are doing that. I mean, you've worked with us as AWPN. We worked with you with Almasi, and that can continue with anything else, and that's how we grow. That's how we create networks as well. And now we have access to your network. You also have access to our network, and we're all going like this. And that's the idea that needs to continue. No, not only with AWPN, but there's so many platforms. And I see now there's a lot of platforms, and I think it had to happen this way, that Almasi needed to exist in its own space so that it allows the others to see it in a distance and say, oh, it's possible because Almasi is doing it. Therefore, are we gonna do it? And when I look now, compared to 2017, there was only Almasi, And I'm thinking now, when you Google something, there's a lot of staged readings that are happening around the continent. I'm like, that's it. Now let's all come together now. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, even the whole stage reading concept and how it also fits into even the development of plays. It's also not just a skill for actors and directors, but also even for playwrights. Fitting it off into our Mass African Playwrights Conference. And I mean, this year, what we have and the diverse subject matter, we have 2 South Africans and 3 Zimbabweans, all from different backgrounds and schools of thought and identities. And it's like, this is the space that we're hoping can expand within the African continent, where there's a platform for all these diverse voices to exist, to tell their stories, and to tell stories that go through process.
Yes. That's a word for today. Process.
Yes. Absolutely. All right.